Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hawaii Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, if you have any questions at all, feel free to submit those through the Q&A. Our representatives are here and available to answer any questions you have throughout the presentations. Your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. There are more sessions happening. Feel free to sign up for more college presentations being offered at the same place you registered for this one. And lastly, this recording will be available a week from today at strivescan.com/Hawaii. All sessions are being recorded. We are currently in session B2, where my mouse is circling at the moment. And this will also be the same order of our presentations. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our first representative from the School of Education at University of Alaska.
Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to be telling you about some of the education programs we offer at the University of Alaska system. Just wanted to clarify that today I'm talking about the College of Education, not about the University of Alaska system generally. And I know that the University of Alaska Fairbanks and the University of Alaska Anchorage are having separate sessions at this college fair. So if you're looking for information for that, I recommend checking out their sessions. But without further ado, I am going to just keep going on here. So generally in a normal year, I would have, a really fruitful conversation with people attending sessions about what got them into education, but I'll just go through mine. So my name is David Song. I use he, him pronouns, calling in from Juneau, Alaska here in Southeast Alaska, and yeah, I work for the University of Alaska System, College of Education, but beforehand I was an educator in the Boston Public School System, teaching 9th and 10th grade physics and biology. So if you have any questions about being a teacher specifically, you can feel free to drop those in the chat. So before I go into our programs, I'm going to give a little brief overview of what public education is like in the state of Alaska. So we have around 130,000 students in 54 school districts with around 8,000 teaching positions. And all those students and teachers are in 509 schools spanning urban and rural communities. So unlike most school districts and states in the lower 48, we have a wide range of different types of school districts, ranging from our very rural village sites that have probably one building that serves K through 12. The example I used here is on the very right. It's a Tikigok School on the North Slope Borough in Point Hope, Alaska. And on the other hand, we have our typical urban school districts that are pretty similar to the ones in the lower 48. We have, and then I use the Juneau Douglas High School here in my town of Juneau. And then in between, we have our rural hubs. So those are somewhere in between our single site school districts and our urban school districts. And for that example, I used the Nome Belts Junior Senior High School in the Nome School District. And in Alaska and around the country, we have a big need for teachers. So out of those 8,000 teaching positions I mentioned, about every year we have 1,000 positions that are refilled. And of those 1,000, about 80% are recruited from out of state. And we have a bit of an issue with the retention. People come in who are trained outside of the state. They come in, they have some issues integrating or adjusting to the culture or the climate, and they leave after 1 or 2 years. But the benefit of having a teaching education in Alaska is that you are trained in the cultural context, and you're much more able to identify with and teach in a culturally competent way. And yeah, so I think it's a shame that some teachers are have that turnover, because there's so much unique educational opportunities here in Alaska. Like I mentioned before, I used to teach in Massachusetts, and there's so little latitude that's given to teachers in the Boston area to teach culturally relevant curriculum in the classroom. But here, Alaska gives a lot of opportunities to do that kind of culturally relevant education. So here we have a picture on the left of a school in the Chugiak area that pretty much just allowed a teacher to bring in a caribou and process it in the classroom to, fit into the subsistence lifestyle that a lot of our students have. And on the right, we have uh, activity with the Sea Alaska Heritage Institute, which is our native corporation here in Southeast, doing a traditional Tlingit dance. So those are just two examples of the kinds of things you can do in our state. And you can teach in any school district in the state for your student teaching opportunity. So this is the map of our student teachers, and they're spread all around the state. So if you want to teach in an urban school district like Anchorage, you can. You can teach in a village, and our staff will come out and support you no matter where you go. So speaking of our programs, two campuses here in Alaska provide the initial certification for teaching. We have UAS, University of Alaska Southeast in Juneau, and University of Alaska Fairbanks in Fairbanks. And we also have the University of Alaska Anchorage. It does not offer the initial teacher prep programs, but you can transfer into UAS or UAF after 2 years to complete a BA in elementary or secondary education. The University of Alaska Southeast it's a smaller campus. It's situated on Auk Lake. There's a photo of it right here. Lots of natural beauty. If you want the smaller class sizes, that's where you want to go. It's in the capital of Alaska, so if you're interested in politics, like me, that's where you want to go to stay abreast of those things. And yeah, lots of personal mentorship. The mentors will travel to you when you do your student teaching. And we have a special scholarship for students who are Indigenous that provide funding for tuition, room and board, books, and the like. So that's a good funding opportunity to consider. And then, yeah, so for undergraduate programs, we have a bachelor's in elementary ed, special education, and a minor in education as well that builds into an MAT. And the reason I've highlighted special education here is that the University of Alaska Southeast is the only program that offers a bachelor in special education. So University of Alaska Fairbanks is the big flagship campus of the UA system. So if you're looking for that big traditional state college experience, that's where you'd like to go. We have specialized programs in music education, arts education, school counseling, and a local knowledge educator certificate, which is a new program that was created for people who want to teach, native languages and culture. And there's also
we're out of time.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. We really appreciate it. The next representative is from Western Colorado University.
David, can you exit out of the screen share for me real quick? Thank you. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Brianna Clark, and I am a Regional Director of Recruitment with Western Colorado University, located in Gunnison, Colorado. I'm really excited to tell you about everything that we have to offer here. But just to begin, I'll start with telling you a little bit about where Western Colorado University is located. Gunnison, Colorado is a small mountain town that's located right in the heart of the Colorado Rockies. We're about 3.5 hours southwest of Denver, and I'll describe it to my students who are on that front range that you go up the mountain, back down the mountain, and then there you are in the Gunnison Valley. With our students being right there in the heart of the Rocky Mountains, or some will call it the base camp of the Rockies, our students have easy access to all things Colorado adventure. So hiking, fishing, camping, skiing, snowboarding, paddleboarding, you think of it, you name it, we have got it and easy access to it. Within 45 minutes of campus, our students have access to 2 world-class ski resorts, as well as the largest body of water in Colorado, known as Blue Mesa Reservoir. Blue Mesa is why our students are able to be involved in sea kayaking, some of our numerous sports and activities. And then 10 miles south of us in the Hartman's Rocks area is 750 plus miles of multi-use single track trails. So really easy for our students to get out and go for a hike in a new area almost every single time. But besides providing campus recreation and outdoor recreation for our students, we also like to call that 80% land around us that's public. It's our nature's best classroom or our outdoor laboratory. So it's providing access for our environment and sustainability students, recreation, outdoor education, biology, sustainability, all of those majors and opportunities, a chance to go out into the actual field and do hands-on research and hands-on homework assignments as they are applying what they're learning in the classroom into the everyday real world. And these things are within, like I said, 10, 15, 20-minute drives as opposed to having it take a 2-hour field trip. Western itself is a small public university. We have 3,000 students total in our undergraduate and about 400 students or so in our master's level courses. Our average class size at Western is 17 students, but we do guarantee you'll never have a class with more than 66 students in it. The graphic here on screen is just showing you a little comparison between our 17-person classroom at Western versus a 500-seat lecture hall. In this small classroom, that means your professors are going to get to know you on a first name basis within 2 weeks of freshman year, if not sooner. They're also going to know that you're coming from out of state and a little bit farther away. So we're going to take a little bit of extra help and a little bit extra time to make sure that you're finding your home away from home at Western. These small class sizes are also another reason why we're able to do hands-on application-based learning, research projects, as opposed to just lecture all the time, because it's really hard for a professor to lecture at 17 pairs of eyes day in and day out when especially they don't really want to do that anyway. Speaking of academic programs, we have over 100 different offerings at Western that our students can pursue. Some of our more popular majors include business administration, environment and sustainability, recreation, outdoor education, biology, and then some other ones, education, exercise and sports science. We also have mechanical engineering, computer science, and a great pre-med or pre-health program for our students to get involved in. But actually our most popular major for freshmen coming in is undecided. We call it our exploratory program, so you can absolutely take those first 2 years to explore what you want to do rather than having it already figured out while you're still in high school. We are absolutely dedicated to the success of our students at Western. A degree only gets you so far if you actually graduate with that degree. So we want to make sure that you are reaching graduation as successfully as possible. So we offer career services, academic advisors, writing and math tutoring centers, as well as our EPIC mentors. EPIC stands for Experienced Peers Initiating Connections, and it's upperclassmen students who have been hired and trained to act as mentors for our incoming students. Every incoming student who comes to Western, regardless of if you're a freshman or a transfer student, is assigned an EPIC mentor who is your person for your entire first year at Western. So not just the first couple weekends of orientation or even that first semester, but all the way up until you start your sophomore year. Let's definitely talk about cost here real quick. So as far as university goes, and an out-of-state university looking at coming into Colorado for sure, our out-of-state tuition is coming in at just under $19,000. This is the same tuition that our students of fall of 2020 paid, as is what our 2021 students are paying. We did not increase our prices. The national average for an out-of-state tuition is coming in at around $22,500. If you include all of our tuition and fees, room and board, and everything together, our total annual cost is coming in at around $32,000. 80% of students will receive some form of financial aid, but 100% of students are considered for merit aid when they apply and are accepted to Western. Speaking of those scholarships, they're definitely based off of your GPA and test scores if we're in a non-test optional year. Students who have a 3.35 GPA or higher, cumulative and weighted, we'll always look at weighted. When you come in when your application is reviewed, you'll get an $8,000 out-of-state scholarship. The higher your GPA is from there, the more scholarship dollars you're eligible to receive. We definitely want you to come on out and check out campus. If you can come visit in person, awesome. We're able to do that for our students. Go to western.edu/visit to check that out. Or if you're looking for more virtual recruitment events, you can go to western.edu/recruitment events to see what all we have offered there. Quick part on the application process. It's super, super easy. It takes you 20 minutes. If you need a waiver, it's there for you. Go Western 2021. We are rolling admissions, so you can apply late. We don't have a deadline. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll turn it over to the next group.
Great, thank you. Just a friendly reminder that if you have any questions at all, feel free to submit those through the Q&A. Our representatives are here and available again to answer any questions that you have throughout the presentations. And if you have a specific question, please also note the name of the school as well, so we can make sure we get the right person there to assist. The next representative is from Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences.
Thanks so much, Catherine. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ricky Mott. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admission at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Thanks so much for joining me this evening and joining the rest of us this evening. Kind of wanted to walk you through, give you some general overview and general information about the university to try and answer as many questions as I can. So we'll get going. So Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences was founded back in 1823. So we're approaching our 200th anniversary of preparing future healthcare leaders. Located in the city of Boston, we're the oldest college or university located in the city, with approximately 7,000 students representing 50 states and 74 different nations out there, with over 100 different majors and emphasis areas for students to choose to take advantage of, all of which directly relate to healthcare in some fashion, some way. I'll show you a list momentarily of all the different majors that we offer. We're located in the Longwood medical and academic area. Some would argue with some of the world's finest hospitals, including Boston Children's Hospital, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Brigham and Women's, along with Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, two of which are Harvard-affiliated teaching hospitals, providing ample opportunities for our students to become involved in a number of areas, including internships, volunteer opportunities. We have formal clinical affiliations with more than 200 different healthcare agencies throughout Massachusetts and greater New England as well. We also offer the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship, or SURF for short, each summer. Those are paid positions for freshmen finishing up their first year on campus, who are paired alongside with faculty members to conduct various different types of research projects throughout the summer. So a lot of opportunities for our students to become involved and to get to know other students. We're located within a mile radius of about 5 or 6 other different colleges and universities, a total of about 12 to 15,000 total college students within the area itself. So a really busy, bustling area with a lot going on. We're located about 10 minutes from downtown Boston. So a lot to get involved in, both on campus and off campus. There's about 100 different clubs and organizations for our students to choose to become involved in if they'd like to do so. We do offer 3 different residence halls with 3 styles of living. There's traditional style. There's also a suite style, which is basically an apartment without the kitchen. And then there's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment complex for our students to choose to live in as well. So lots of living opportunities on the campus itself. Here you'll see a list of, the colleges that actually, or the schools that actually make up the university itself, including obviously our School of Pharmacy. So some highlights of some of the programs that we offer. We are the largest school of pharmacy in the United States today. We are the 2nd oldest school of pharmacy in the United States, providing a 6-year direct entry PharmD program where students bypass the PCAT. So not required as part of that transition process going from pre-professional to professional. We also offer a degree in pre-medical and health studies, offering about 7 different pathway options for students to choose from, including physician assistant studies. They can choose optometry as an example, nursing, medical imaging and therapeutics, as you can see here. If I had to sort of gauge and tell you the top 3 choices of majors that students typically pursue at MCPHS, obviously it's going to be PharmD, followed by pre-medical and health studies, and last but not least, the School of Nursing as well. From the application standpoint, we are a Common App school. Basically the Common App will open on August 1st for all students interested in applying for the fall of 2022. But we also require the official high school transcript, at least 1 letter of recommendation from a counselor or a teacher, someone who knows you academically. We actually do not, or we are actually test optional. So we don't require students to submit a test score as part of the admissions process. We have 3 admission deadlines: early action 1, November 1st, early action 2, December 1st, and regular decision on February 1st each year. The first round of admission notifications typically go out to students sometime around the Thanksgiving holiday. We have admission counselors on hand that are more than happy to answer questions, to chat with you, talk with you. We do offer visit opportunities virtually right now. We are returning back to campus in the very near future to allow for self-guided walking tours of the campus itself. So a lot of opportunities for students to become involved across the university, all focusing on sort of one passion or one thing, and that's healthcare. Oftentimes students will ask, what's the one thing that makes you unique? And that is to say that all of our students on campus have at least that one thing in common, and that's a passion for helping other people and a passion for healthcare in general. We focus on interprofessional education. And basically what that means is, years ago in the American healthcare system, it used to be very siloed, where you had, medical professionals that worked with patients, but not so much collaboration and cross communication. That certainly has changed over the last probably 10 to 20 years. In the American healthcare system. Today, it is much more of a collaborative approach. So through interdisciplinary education, we foster that communication. So regardless of your major, you're going to be sitting in classes with students from across the spectrum to really get a feel for sort of topics in healthcare today in various sectors of the healthcare industry. Examples being our MRI students partner with our health psychology students to help those patients undergoing an MRI sort of cut down or sort of lessen the anxiety that oftentimes folks can go through as they undergo the MRI itself. So 7,000 students, city of Boston, really at your fingertips in your backyard. Lots of opportunities for students to choose to take advantage of. I encourage you all to reach out with any questions that you have. More than happy to answer those questions. And again, I thank you so much for being here tonight.
Very helpful information. Thank you. Before we hear from our next 2 representatives, I do want to send a second friendly reminder to go ahead and submit those questions through the Q&A. Any questions that you have, they're here to help and guide you along the way. And again, if you have a specific question, feel free to also note the school name. Our next representative is from the University of Southern California.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I am going to share a slideshow with you while I am giving you a brief introduction and overview to the University of Southern California. This slideshow actually represents lots of different parts of our campus, and it makes me miss campus so much because, like so many places, we have been remote and continue to be remote, however, are starting to move back onto campus and look forward to being fully back beginning in the fall semester. My name is Lisa Roan. I use the pronouns she and her. I work in the Office of Undergraduate Admission at USC. I'm actually joined here today by one of my colleagues, Jonna German. So she is available in the Q&A box. And so if you have any questions for USC specifically, just drop them in there and Jonna is happy to answer them. I'd like to share with you a little bit about USC, and I'll start with the definition of who we are. The University of Southern California is a large private research university located in the heart of Los Angeles. And I think the best way to learn about us is to break that description down a little bit. Large is always relative. And so there are about 20,000 undergraduate students on our undergraduate, our University Park campus. That's our main campus. But then there's another almost 20,000 students that are on our campus, our main campus, that are studying graduate programs. And we also have a health science campus where we have a working hospital, as well as lots of programs in the allied health areas. At USC, for undergraduates, there are about 150 different programs, undergraduate majors, as well as over 150 minor programs. We definitely are interested in students pursuing areas that are interdisciplinary, understanding and seeing the connections across their curriculum. And so as part of that description, a large private research university, private simply is governance, and then research speaks to what we do. We are interested in discovering and creating new knowledge at the university. And that sounds a little arrogant sometimes, but that's what the purpose of research universities are, is to question, right? To ask those questions and to understand why things are the way that they are and how they can be made better, and ultimately to make the world a better place. So research takes place across the university, across our curriculum, in all kinds of areas. So it's not just about being in STEM areas, but definitely in the humanities and the arts, the social sciences as well. We think about the work that we do on several different levels. First and foremost, we definitely are a place that has a global perspective, like many institutions do. And we are fortunate to have the second largest international student population in the United States. So there are students from around the world who also are looking at the university and finding it a destination where they can fulfill their academic interests and dreams. But we also want our students to go and think about studying in other parts of the world. Not right now, but soon that'll open back up, where students will be able to go out and study abroad and make that very much a part of their academic undergraduate experience. We definitely believe in the fact that an education that exposes our students to all kinds of different folks from different backgrounds, different places. You know, every component of the word diversity is going to be present, and it might be ethnic, it might be cultural, it might be geographic, it might be socioeconomic. All of that is important in what's going to happen in your education. And I think that that is something that's very much a part of who we are, what we discuss, and what we strive to do. We are located in Los Angeles, just south of downtown LA. And if you go to like the top of our parking garages, you can see downtown LA right there. So it's very close to where we are. We're in University Park is the name of our neighborhood in South Los Angeles, very much in the heart of a big city, the second largest city in the United States. Los Angeles is a key for us. It is a place where our students are able to take advantage of all the things a big city has to offer, all the things that a city that has one of the largest economies in the world has to offer. There's all kinds of industry, which brings opportunities for things like internships, job shadowing, finding mentors in the field and the things that you desire to study. So we definitely use Los Angeles as very much a part of our educational experience. But at the same time, we are very much a traditional institution with a very active campus environment. We are residential. We have students living on campus first and second year is guaranteed, and oftentimes students will stay on campus beyond that. However, we're in a neighborhood where lots of our students live and join into campus activities. There are over 1,000 different student organizations based on all the different kinds of things that you can imagine for student organizations. We're a place that is definitely committed to service. We're a place that has opportunities for all kinds of faith exploration. We're a place that also is very much into athletics with we're in a Division I athletic program in the Pac-12 conference, and in about 2 hours, we will be playing basketball in March Madness. Made it to the Sweet 16, so super excited about that. So nice to have kind of exposure to big time athletics, and that's going to be part of our campus. All of the things that we are, global and local and Los Angeles and research and independent, And our size is all wrapped up in what we call the Trojan family, which is the name of our alumni network, which sounds weird to talk about when you're looking at an institution, but it really speaks to the fact that we are lifelong and worldwide, and that our students stay connected to the university long after their experience at the school, at the university. We have, in terms of admission, we use the common application as well, as was mentioned earlier by another institution. Our deadlines are December 1st and January 15th. If you want to be considered for academic scholarships, please submit your application by December 1st. We do offer a robust financial aid program. In fact, we came out with an affordability initiative just last year where families who make $80,000 or under will not be asked to pay tuition at the university. So all kinds of exciting things, lots that you can learn more about. I look forward to answering any of your questions, and please feel free to visit us with a huge menu of virtual opportunities. And that's it. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Our last representative for this session, but certainly not least, is from Marquette University.
Hello, everyone. Let me just get my screen here. Make sure we're all good. Awesome. So my name is Katie Schumacher. I am one of the assistant directors within the Office of Admissions at Marquette. We are located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so about an hour and a half north from Chicago. We are considered a medium-sized school. So we have 8,000 undergrad, 4,000 grad, which puts us right in between that really, really large school, which could be around 40,000 students, to that smaller school that could be around 2,000 to 4,000. And that medium size really allows a lot of unique opportunities, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. We have 80 different majors, and they're broken down into our 7 different academic colleges. I'll go into those in just a little bit as well. We're right on the lakefront, about a mile and a half from campus. So we are a really active city, and we also have a variety of different Fortune 500 companies that our students get to work at. And then our students also are super involved. So we have students that are involved in over 300 student organizations, ranging from athletics to Greek life to different cultural activities. And a big part of who we are, though, is that we are a Jesuit institution. So we are one of the 27 Jesuit universities across the country. If you haven't heard of the Jesuits, they're an order of Catholic priests, and they founded those 27 universities. So Marquette is one, Boston College, Loyola Chicago, Creighton, all Jesuit schools. And how I like to explain Jesuit education is from an inside and outside the classroom perspective. So inside the classroom perspective, the Jesuits were known as the founders of the liberal arts curriculum. So they wanted you to be, a great doctor or a great nurse, but they also wanted you to be moral. They wanted you to be ethical. They wanted you to have a social justice lens to how you view the world. And so alongside your major courses, you'll partake in what's called our core curriculum. And we organize that core into 3 different tiers: foundational tier, a discovery tier, and a culminating tier. And really believe that those different classes help to build that critical mindset where you can ask those big questions. And then outside the classroom is service. So about 80% of our students engage in some form of service. And that's not required. That's just what our students do and are involved in. And I really think that speaks volumes to the kind of students that we have at Marquette. We know at the end of your 4 years, you of course, want that job, want that career, but it's more than that. And there's a phrase in Jesuit education called magis, which means the more. And we hope when you leave Marquette, you leave a better version of yourself, and you've taken everything you've learned and you bring that to whatever community you become a part of after you graduate. Like I mentioned, we have 7 different academic colleges. We are considered a direct entry school. So what that means is when you apply to Marquette, you apply directly to one of our 7 academic colleges. So if you're interested in business, you apply directly to the College of Business. If you're interested in nursing, you apply directly to the College of Nursing. And once you're in, you're in. You don't have to worry about reapplying or anything like that. And you can start taking classes in your major right away as a freshman. But you might be thinking, Katie, I don't know what I want to do. What if I'm undecided? That's totally okay. You can apply to any of these colleges, minus nursing, because nursing is the only major within nursing, undecided. You won't formally have to declare your major until you're a sophomore. And regardless of the academic college, you're also assigned an academic advisor. You have to meet with them at least once a semester. And again, that medium size really allows us to provide that additional academic support. At the bottom, you can see some of our professional schools. We are the only dental school in Wisconsin. We have a law school and we have a graduate school as well. When you apply to Marquette, you can apply through the Common App, or we have our own application, and it's free. We have a priority deadline of December 1st, and we review holistically. And that complete application is, of course, application, high school transcript, leadership and service activities, as well as your essay. We are a test optional school, and we've been test optional for 2 years. So if you feel like your test score is not a good representation of you academically, you don't have to send it in. And you're also automatically reviewed for our Pierre Marquette scholarship, as well as additional scholarships you can apply for after you're admitted. This is a picture of our campus. We are considered a city campus. We're just kind of right on the outskirts of Milwaukee. But even though we're a city campus, we're also very residential. So 95% of our students live on campus. We only have about a 5% commuter population. And I always like to mention that just because sometimes I think city schools can get a bad rap for being commuter schools. But that's definitely not the case on our campus. Our retention rate from freshman to sophomore year is right around 89%. We have students, again, that are from all over, all 50 states. 28% of our students identify as students of color, about 21% first generation, and about 4% international students. So it really makes up that vibrant campus. And we're, again, that medium size, but also have that larger feel because we are a D1 school across all sports. We are most known for our men's basketball team, but we're also highly ranked in a lot of other different areas as well. And then it's also important to talk about kind of that outside the classroom experience, which really goes into our Jesuit mission. About 81% of our students are involved in one of those over 300 student organizations. 29% of our students study abroad. About 75% of our students have an internship. And again, Milwaukee is really seen as our students' playground, both professionally and socially. So it's super accessible. And about 21% of our students engage in some form of research. And again, because we're direct entry, you can start doing that research right away as a freshman because you're immediately into that program. And lastly, this is my information. I am your counselor for the Hawaii area. So again, please feel free to give me a call, send me an email. I'd be more than willing to answer any questions right now in the chat or afterwards. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you so much. Great information shared, but we do have some time left. And so we're gonna go ahead and pivot right now into our Q&A portion of the session. So at this time, I'll ask all our presenters to go ahead and turn on their cameras, to unmute themselves. And we'll start with our first question here, which is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? Again, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? We'll go ahead and get started in the same order which you all presented in, but we'll go ahead and jump to Western Colorado University, since University of Alaska is no longer with us.
Great. A piece of advice that I would like to give to students is to start early, but then also to look at all of your different options. So look at a large university, look at a small university, look at a public university, look at a private, so that you can kind of see the pros and cons between all of them and find the ones that fit your needs the most, and what fits you the most as that student looking at going to that university.
My advice is just to know that you're not alone. There are, millions of other students going through the same process that you're going through. Don't hesitate to reach out with questions. We're here to answer those questions and provide as much information for you as possible. So my advice is always to, self-advocate, raise your hand, ask questions, get to know your admission counselor so they can provide as much information for you as possible.
Okay, thanks, Ricky, for taking the answer. Like, what can I come up with? No, so yeah, absolutely. Like, utilizing your resources in this process is so important because I think students oftentimes feel that they might have to do it all by themselves and aren't sure how to figure it out. And that's why kind of all of us exist, right? There's an offices of admission, all the places that you're looking for that are there to serve you in terms of answering your questions and helping figure out if their institution is a good place for you. So please utilize your resources.
Yeah, I think what I always say in looking at schools is think of that personal fit, financial fit, and academic fit. I think those are kind of the three important lenses to think about as you're going through the college process, and kind of looking at each of those three things when you connect with the school, if you have the chance and opportunity to visit. I think those three lenses are really important. And sometimes, at least for me, I'm very much a visual learner. It can be super overwhelming. And so sometimes putting those things into buckets kind of helps me figure that out. So again, just kind of think about that personal fit, that financial fit, and academic fit. And hopefully all those three things are there for you at the school that you choose. And again, I also joke that we all put our clothes on the same way you do every morning. We're no different. So like, don't be nervous or anything like that. We're here to answer questions. The way to be informed is to ask those questions. And so don't be afraid to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. All great advice. It's always great to hear those who work directly in the school to offer advice or suggestions along the way. So thank you. The next question is, what is your favorite event or tradition on campus?
Great. Yeah, I'll answer this in just a second. There's a question in the Q&A that's just how much does the average GPA of a school affect the chances of getting in? So just touching base on that. And then if any of my colleagues want to chime in as well. I would say it definitely depends on the universities that you're looking at. So for Western, it really doesn't matter what the average GPA is. We're looking at your application individually as a student, and then holistically, not just looking at your GPA, but also the essay that you write in, how hard are the classes that you're taking, if you've had any struggles in life that you mentioned in your essay that you've overcome. So some challenges that way. So for smaller public universities like Western that are like somewhat selective, we call ourselves somewhat selective in the admissions process, average GPA doesn't necessarily matter on that part. But then for, I think was the question, favorite tradition? No, I forgot. The mountain behind me is, in the picture behind me is W Mountain, or Tenderfoot Mountain, as we call it. So a fun tradition that we do every year at Western during our homecoming is our mountain rescue team will actually light the W on fire for the burning of the W bonfire, kind of a thing. You can see the W from campus. So then there's a lot of partying and like different celebrations that are happening right on campus, but you can see the W from there as well.
So I echo the question on the GPA. You know, the average is the average, higher and lower coming in every single year in the incoming freshman class. We really do strive to take a holistic approach, as I think most institutions do out there. My very favorite tradition on our campus would be the white coat ceremonies that our students undergo. So when they make that transition to the professional phase of their degree program, just seeing the smiles and the coats and, you know, the family members that are around with the photos being taken, and just watching them make that next leap to becoming, you know, a future healthcare leader themselves. So for me, that's probably my most favorite tradition on campus.
Yeah, in terms of the GPA question, I think one thing that we all talk about is context. Context is what's going to really help us understand what an applicant has done and how they have, what it is that they're presenting. So it's not just a static average that's going to help dictate what's going on. It's being able to dive a little bit deeper into the application and the student, and understanding your background in light of what opportunities that you had. In terms of traditions, I mentioned the Trojan family. It's very much a part of who we are, our alumni network, but also it's our students, our faculty, our family members, all those things. And we have a very common and familiar greeting, and that is, we use the V for victory sign. It's not peace, but victory. And we say to each other, fight on. So if you ever see someone with USC gear on or anywhere around, you just say fight on to them, and they will know and understand exactly what that means and where it's coming from.
Awesome. And again, I'm kind of like a broken record, being the last one, but holistic review. That's kind of based off of our mission as a Jesuit institution. We're looking at a little bit of everything. And I know in the chat there is just, the Q&A, a question about kind of like awards and accomplishments. We'll review those holistically. We look at everything in your application. So each one of those things comes into you telling us your story and who you are. So we'll look at all of those things. And then in terms of her tradition on campus, we have what's called Midnight Madness. So right before the beginning of the men's basketball season, we have this Midnight Madness where all the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team, alumni, Milwaukee community, friends of Marquette come to this big event to kind of start this season. You get free t-shirts, free food. It's just a really fun event. There oftentimes is some guests or celebrities because we have had some NBA players that went from Marquette to the NBA. So that's kind of fun, but I went to Marquette as well. So I'm a little biased, but that was one of my favorite memories. So yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys also answering those questions too, coming through the Q&A. I know time was short, but I appreciate you guys folding that in there. May have missed that myself, but thank you. And to all our presenters, thank you for all the great information, for sharing with us. And thank you to each of you for joining us. That's all we have time for, but we appreciate it. As you close, there'll be a very quick 4-question survey that will appear. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, your feedback will be greatly appreciated. There are more sessions happening, so feel free to sign up for more sessions where you registered for this one. And this recording will be available a week from today at strivescan.com/Hawaii. Again, thank you and have a great night.